Welcome to another eXp Mastery Team event, commercial real estate tactical broker training. We're excited to be here. We believe most brokers, they struggle with clarifying, what is the best practices? What's the best way to role play? What's the best way to underwrite? What's the best way to structure creative deals for their sellers? And finding creative solutions. So we're here to share our secrets, our expert secrets that we've developed over the years, but also practice them live. And so that you can kind of get a feel for how to level up your game. My name is Brett Swarts. For those who don't know me, I'm the founder of Capital Gains Tax Solutions. I'm also founder of eXp Commercial. I've been a broker since 2000. Well, an agent since 2006, became a broker a couple years back, but focusing on multifamily investments, starting with Marcus and Millitab. Now I'm with eXp Commercial. And I'm excited to be joined by a few others as well that are a part of the team. If you're checking us out for the first time, hey, welcome. If you're interested in learning more about what we're doing, you can check out expmastery.com. And that being said, I'm with Brent Silberbauer. He's a multifamily expert in the Chico and Northern California area, as well as Aptos, Monterey area. That's where he's originally from. He also does some single family as well. Brent, how are we doing, brother, man?
Doing awesome. Thanks for having me. It's great.
Yep. And we also joined by Sierra Salindia. I'm still pronouncing her name, hopefully perfectly right there. She is the mobile home park expert, commercial real estate expert. Sierra, how are you doing today?
Good. How you doing, Brett?
Good. Did everything freeze in Denver and just, you guys, you just staying bunkered in and like just lighting the fireplace on fire?
Yep. We are buried by some snow.
Crazy. I saw in New York some of these pictures. I don't know if you guys saw that over the weekend, but it was all just like ice boxes. Like literally, like the whole house was just an ice sheet. And I think that might be the last day I would live there, and I would just go ahead and just move over to Florida or maybe Texas, somewhere a little warmer. But that being said, we're also joined by Lizzie Porter. She's also one part of the eXp Mastery team, and she is out of Chico, focusing on single family homes. Lindsay, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Doing great. Happy New Year. It looks like you got a Happy New Year or Christmas sweater there. It looks brand new and like fluffy. Is that true?
It's not true, but it's just cold. So
it's one of those ones you like never wash, right? Because once you wash it, it's over.
Yep.
That's my strategy. Just try not to wash the things. Cool. We're going to get started here. We've covered a few things over the last number of weeks. I think this is our 4th or 5th week now. If you're curious how to find this content, you can go to my couple of my YouTube channels. We have the Expert CRE Secrets YouTube channel, and we have the Capital Gains Tax Solutions YouTube channel as well. That being said, Brent, we've covered a few things. We've covered the purpose of the cold call. So what is the purpose of the cold call? We're going to jam through a few of these things, but you can get the detail, in-depth overview of that from our other trainings. But Brent, what is the purpose of the cold call?
The purpose of the cold call is to get the in-person meeting and get off the phone.
Exactly. It's not to have the meeting. It's not to hang out. It's not to just talk about small talk and do all this stuff that we think we would do with like our friends and stuff because or our family members or whatever. No, we're looking for a business relationship. We're looking to be the expert to help them, to guide them. And when we're spending a lot of time just talking, we get put into what kind of zone, Sierra?
Oh yeah, we get put into friend zone pretty quickly.
Yeah, the friend zone. And the friend zone means what? It means they're probably going to be your friend, but are they as likely to do business with you? It's kind of counterintuitive because part of you says like, well, yeah, because they're my friend, then they do business with me. Not necessarily, right? So what we want to do is we actually want to get the meeting, right, Sierra? And then once we get the meeting, what is the purpose of the meeting?
The purpose of the meeting is to uncover some motivation, some problems, see if us doing a proposal for them might help solve those problems.
Absolutely. And so, Brent, during that meeting, we're going to be building a ton of rapport. And this is the part where we do want to become friends, right? In the sense of that they can know, like, and trust us. And that's just naturally going to come with human relationships, but it's in a set specific time that they've dedicated to you. And you're not there to waste their time, but you are there to get to know them. They get to know you. You got to know what kind of personality type they are. If they're just a driver personality, expressive, they're going to talk a lot. Drivers wants to get things done right now. Analytical is going to want to really think about things, strategize, right? Help them think through clearly what the next steps is. Then it could be There's also, amiable personality who might need more of an assertive to help them guide them to where they're going. All of these things you want to be reading, but overall, what percentage of the time do you want to actually be spending building rapport, Brent?
About 80%.
It's a good ratio, right? So about 80% of the time, that typically means what? That who's talking most of the time on the 80% of the time?
The client, the prospect, the owner.
Right, because they're the hero. We're not the hero here, right? They're the hero who has built blood, sweat, and tears to build their properties, to build their business, to invest, to do all of the things that they've been doing over all of the years to even be to the point where they're multimillionaires typically now, having these cash flow, but yet they're still having these challenges, right? That we're going to be uncovering. But we don't know that unless we're asking good questions, but not only really that, you don't really have to ask a bunch of good questions. You really just have to do a thing called what, Brent? What are the two things you really want to practice?
Mirroring, one, and sounds like, seems like, feels like.
Which is what, Sierra? What does sounds like, feels like, sounds like? What is that called?
Other than mirroring, I mean, we're just kind of repeating back to them what they've already said. We're confirming what they said so that it's like a double confirmation.
Yes, so that is true. That is the definition of mirroring, right? Or kind of repeating the last few words someone just said and or summarizing the last few things I just said. But there's a second part of that that's called labeling. And labeling is basically looking for the emotion, feeling the emotion, and saying it sounds like, it seems like, it feels like. You might be frustrated that you're having to deal with rent control and a very landlord not friendly state like California. It seems like it's harder and harder to find quality property managers who you can trust to actually look out for you, right? It feels like maybe a 1031 exchange might be a big challenge for you because you did that before and it was very painful to have to go through that process and you maybe overpaid for their property. So as you're uncovering their story, as you're uncovering how they bought the property, why they bought the property, what they like best about the property, what they don't like about the property. And you're asking some of these open-ended questions, but a lot of times you're just following and mirroring and you're walking down the sequence of different things. And guess what happens, Brent? What happens as they start to know that you're hearing them? What happens?
They start to feel understood. And they say a key phrase, which is, that's right.
They say, that's right.
That's right. You're doing good.
Yeah, and that's a good confirmation to know that you're basically tracking with them. And they're going to say that pretty emphatically. That's right. Yeah. Right? It's going to be pretty quick. It's not going to be a long-ended, well, that's sort of right if you did it. Well, if those things are, then mirror that and build into that. Well, it sounds like, it feels like I might be missing something, right? It feels like there might be more than meets the eye here when it comes to, why you might be considering selling. Those are the things we want to practice, right? And as we do that, they're going to open up more information. And sometimes they don't even know, Lindsay, the information until they're there in front of you and they're thinking it through. I'm kind of that type, right? I didn't really know what I was going to talk about this morning until I got on about 5 minutes ago. I'm like, okay, here's what we're going to talk about. And then we're going to go. That's the kind of the way I think. And then we start going and everything starts flowing. So you're going to help them. You're going to guide them with their thoughts and their strategy and the overall purpose of what they're trying to do. But you want to help them to clarify what their B is. Lindsay, what is their B?
I don't know.
Brent, what is their B?
Their B. I don't know. Either.
Sierra, what is their B?
Strike three.
It's where they want to be. Okay. Where do you want to be, Mr. Client, in 1, 3, or 5 years? Where do you want to be with your time and your energy, with your wealth, with your income, with your, when you first started in this thing, Sierra, where did you see yourself? 5 years ago when you bought this mobile home park, where did you see yourself being right now? And they might say, about where I'm at. Or, yeah, collecting some income and getting some passive income and, growing my wealth. How's it going? And essentially, they're going to tell you where they're at, which is, guess what? Is their A. A is where they're at. B is where they want to be. And our job is to help understand where that gap is and or help them understand why there's a gap. What is the gap? What does it mean to have the gap? Right? So A is where they're at. B is where they want to be. And sometimes it's as simply as saying, hey, when you first got started in here, where were you hoping to be at today? How's that going? What would it take you to get A to B? And sometimes that means not selling. Sometimes that means refinancing. Sometimes that means developing the project. Sometimes that means selling the project. Sometimes that means doing a 1031 exchange. Sometimes that means doing a Delaware statutory trust. Sometimes it means doing a deferred sales trust. Sometimes you're doing an installment sale, traditional stuff. Sometimes it means a lot of different things. But until you understand that gap of where they want to be, where they're at, and what's causing that challenge, you really can't build that bridge of a solution, right? Which leads into what? The proposal to build that solution. So Britt and I went on a meeting a week ago. Yeah,
about that. Yep.
And we're going to dive into that here in a little more detail. But essentially, while we were there, we weren't there to present their proposal. It was our first meeting. Now, this was a client I've had for a couple of years now with the Deferred Sales Trust, who's already sold multiple apartments into this trust. And now he's looking at it for another portion of his portfolio. But the goal was not to just present a proposal of a pricing. That's the worst thing you can do, is to show up and say, I've got all the solutions for you. And they're going, you've only ever talked to me. We're going on our first date and you're ready to get married and you have all of the solutions for me, right? And that's the part where if you haven't been listening, people feel like they're being sold to, right? Because we're showing up saying we have all the answers, right? And although we may have all the answers, it may not be appropriate until we want to make sure, indeed, that these answers actually apply to the scenario. Again, it's like the doctor, Brent. When you go to the doctor's office, what do, Brent?
They ask you a bunch of questions, see where the pain points are, maybe take an x-ray, that kind of thing.
Maybe an MRI, right? Are they going to just do surgery right there on the spot? You're going to show up, Sierra, and just be like, yep, you need knee surgery. Let's just tear you up and just go, right? No, they're going to do that MRI. They might even refer you to another specialist. They might get a second opinion. They might go talk to their colleagues about, a similar case. They're going to be very thoughtful, methodical, and like a surgeon, or if they're not the surgeon, refer you to the surgeon. But that first listing appointment is just that opportunity to uncover those needs and those challenges, emotionally connect with the client, build that rapport, and then say, look, would you, right? And essentially determine if a proposal is even warranted, right? Lindsay, you ready to role play? So Lindsay, we've been talking now for the last 30, 40 minutes, and I think I'm hearing, it seems like, it sounds like, it feels like you have this challenge, this frustration, and this motivation to potentially sell. What I'd like to do is go spend some time and do a proposal. It's a detailed analysis on the sales comps, the rent comps, your overall income and expenses. And I'm referring this to multifamily right now. If it's a single family, it'd be a little bit different, but your overall income and expenses statement, essentially kind of do an MRI of the state of your property and your cash flow. And based upon what I come back with, assuming we can bring on price and terms, and to your satisfaction, we're answering 1, 2, and 3 that we talked about here recently, the last 30 minutes. Is there any reason why you wouldn't allow me to exclusively list your property for you?
I just don't think now's the right time.
The right time?
I want to wait till the summer.
The summer?
Yep.
What about this summer will open up the opportunity to sell? Just curious.
I'll be a little less busy with work at that time, so I'll be able to focus on getting the property sold.
So it sounds like you'll be a little bit busy with work in the summer, so you can focus more time and energy to sell the property.
Correct.
So assuming we could show you how, the actual timing of the sale within June could be much lower than it is now, perhaps that might motivate you to sell earlier?
Maybe, if I could make more money off the property.
So if I could come back and show you in my proposal how selling now could, potentially make you more money versus waiting, is there any other reason why you wouldn't allow me to exclusively list the property for you?
That was the major reason. Timing.
Excellent. And it's a great reason. And I'm going to validate here. It's a great reason. It's a great concern. And a lot of my clients are feeling this similar thought pattern right now. It's the holidays. We're going through a whole transitionary period here. things are looking very challenging. But one of the things, by the way, Brent and I uncovered during our due diligence with this current opportunity we're proposing on this week is he had an assumable loan. And this assumable loan has an adjustable period. So guess what? Brent, when does that assumable loan expire? You're on mute.
December 2025.
Right. And so Brent, if December 25, expires, if I'm a new buyer, do I want that to be longer or do I want that to be shorter?
You want it to be longer.
Exactly. So this,
yeah.
Yep. So Lindsay, this would be part of my proposal, right? So I've uncovered these things and I'm looking for all of the little fact patterns that are going to help my seller and help my buyer to make sense of it, right? And one of the things I've uncovered by looking at it is there's an assumable loan, and that assumable loan is going to go till 2025. And guess what? That means I want a longer period to be able to own the property and do my value add. So when I come back as my proposal, one of the sheets I'm going to show is you have a unique opportunity, Lindsay, and that your loan is an assumable loan at 3.55%, which is incredible because a lot of roads are like 6 to 6.5. So do you see, now I'm presenting the solution. This is the proposal. I'm on the meeting. Do you see how listing today is actually more likely to net you a higher price because we have about a 2.5 to 3% lower interest rate for the buyer to assume your debt versus waiting 6 months and having a shorter period of time?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Excellent. Check, right? Now, I might also talk about just trends in the marketplace and the overall macroeconomics of how long it takes real estate values to shift and how in 6 months from now where we're at, it most likely was going to be lower than where we were, today. And you can't say for certainty, nothing is certain, right? But based upon historical trends, I do believe that this is the best case for you in order to get the highest price and the best terms. But Lindsay, you talked about your work and some of the other challenges that were going on. Was there anything else that I'm missing there as it pertains to your focus and your stress level? Because we want to make sure that that's all aligned.
No, that was the main thing. Was
good.
Time.
Okay, excellent. So then we will move on to the next thing. Here's the next thing. Here's how we're going to do it. And again, here's my proposal. I'm not sitting there just showing every single page of it, right? I'm using it as the sales tool. Specific things, the specific part right here, walk them through that. And then I'm going to ask them for any questions they might have. And if there's no further questions, I'm going to go on to the next part of the sales process, right? Which is basically the marketing piece, right? How we're going to market it, how we're going to get the highest price and the best terms, the strategy and the story of the property, all of the highlights of the property, right? Why we believe the property is going to sell differently than the other sales comps. Why we believe the rents are lower or higher or the same of the other rent comps. Essentially, you're going to sell the seller and how are you going to sell the property to the buyers. You need to know as much or more about the property than they do. As much or more about the property than they do. Now, you definitely need to know as much or more about all the other assets that have sold, right? You're going to want to know the seller's names or the owner's names. And the buyers and the sellers of the last five, at least 5 properties that you've done, right? The details of them, how you're going to call them directly. But it's not just having a name and a number. It's creating an environment of competition. And Mr. Seller, my plan is to bring the highest dollar price and the best terms and the certainty of close by bringing like a bidding environment and creating such a compelling story that every single buyer in the marketplace is going to want to buy this. And so are the others in the surrounding areas as we market it on LoopNet and on Correction and Bervitas, on CoStar, as we send it out to all of the Sierra and your scenario, all the mobile home park owners in the square mile radius. As I share this with brokers across the country from all brokerage houses, and I don't keep it just in-house for these certain amount of days, just for our brokers, like the old company used to do, right? These are all the things that we're going to be doing to maximize the exposure so that we get as many buyers to the table to drive your price higher. Sarah, do you have any questions on that?
No questions.
Excellent. So it sounds like, and it feels like you're ready to move forward.
Yeah, if all those conditions are met, I think I would.
Excellent. I brought a listing agreement right here. So here it is. My commission is 6%. We do 50-50 to the buyer. So that means if I represent the buyer, it's 50%. If someone else represents 50%. The listing agreement is for 6 months. This is a standard listing agreement. Happy to read through it right here. If you have any questions, let me know. You also don't have to sign it on the spot, but if you're ready to go, here's a pen. You're ready to sign. You can get going right now. Just be quiet. See what they say. All right. Oh, okay. Great. And if they sign it, excellent. Here are the steps that we're going to be taking now that you've signed it. Everything goes into order. I'm transferring the proposal over to a marketing package, and it will be going live on Monday. I always like to give it a few days because you got to get everything organized. Let's say you're presenting on a Thursday, live on Monday. Boom, 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 on LoopNet, on CoStar, Vivitas. I'm sending it out to all the brokers. All of the tools and systems you're using, we're going to be live. We typically like to have about a 30-day, at least a 30-day or 21-day look for everybody, unless we get some outlandish offer. At which point we'll basically have a call for offers. Again, 21 or 30 days from the day you list is probably pretty good. And we'll get everyone to bring their highest and best offer, or at least their best offer. And we might choose the top 2 or 3 and go back to those select ones with your approval to ask them to bring their highest and best. That's just sort of the process. If you have any questions along the way, of course, let me know. I'll be letting you know about how these things are going. Boom, that's it. Get the signed listing agreement. Now, don't just run out of there. Build some rapport again, right? Because you're all excited about, oh my gosh, I got this $5 million listing. Hey, start building some rapport again, right? Care about the person. Be focused enough to say, hey, how was your holiday? Again, right? Or what are your plans for the new year? Or what's your biggest thing for 2023? If you could get it done this year, what would that look like? How can I help with that? Who knows? They could say, I got 3 other properties. In fact, if you do a good job here, I'd like to be sold of all 3 of them. We just helped a seller out of Idaho sell 5 mobile home parks for $10 million. We didn't represent him as the seller, but we helped him on the Deferred Sales Trust exit of this. And he says, I wasn't selling until I met you guys. Then I met you guys, and then I sold. And he goes, because his biggest thing was being passive with his time and his energy, not just passive with the wealth that was accumulating. In fact, you can watch the entire story on my YouTube channel, Capital Gains Tax Solutions or Expert CRE Secrets. And it's Gary Lester's story. It's incredible. Moscow, Idaho. The guy bought him about 5 years ago. Got a tremendous amount of appreciation. And he was like, I can't even think about doing a 1031. He goes, let alone the interest rates, the debt, and rushing around to try to find something right now. He goes, forget about it. I was not going to sell. The Deferred Sales Trust is everything I wanted it. I was waiting for this. And that is why I was able to sell. That unlocked the solution for them. And so that's the key here. What transformational solution are you going to unlock for your seller? Right? Lindsay, for you, it could be their dream home. It could be their family living closer to school. They walk their kids to school. It could be living by the lake. It could be whatever it is, right? Who knows? What is that transformational thing that you're going to deliver? Why are they going to pay you X amount of money to go do all this? It's got to be something very compelling, right? And it's got to fit to exactly what they want. Sierra, what questions do you have on that?
No questions. I think it's a great point on, really getting to the heart of the issue for these owners. Or do they have any problems? Do they have any motivations? Like you said, like their B, where do they want to be? I think it's great. Yep.
Brent, what thoughts do you have on
that? Just super good. Very concise. It's just methodical. It's just, I like the system. I think it's very effective.
Lindsay, you ready to role play?
Why do you keep picking on me?
Because I want to see if you got this. Because I'm gonna gauge how well you're listening on my coaching here. So, let's do it's called a conditional close, right? So it starts with assuming we can. Go ahead. I'm the seller, and you're the listing agent.
Assuming we can agree on price and terms, is there any reason why you wouldn't be ready to list the property?
Pretty good. Okay. Assuming we can agree on price and terms, you might add to your satisfaction, just a little, is there any reason why you wouldn't allow me to exclusively list the property with you? And so the answer is, we want them to say, no, there's no other reason. Is there any other reason why you wouldn't allow me? It really gives them a chance to say, oh, there's that broker, Brent. They helped me buy the property. it's not going to be an easy conversation because I feel like I have some loyalty to them, Brent. I don't know.
Yeah, well, if you're open to it, what I do is I usually I'll call the property managers, other brokers, and have them bring a buyer, and it'll be great.
Yeah, but Brent, I feel like they just done a lot for me. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let me ask you this. Has anyone else brought you a DST? Has anyone else been doing the legwork on the market and all the things that I've been bringing up to you? Have they stayed in contact to communicate any of that stuff to you?
Not at all. I mean, they do property management and they do real estate. They kind of do both. And it just doesn't, not at all. They don't come bring these ideas.
Yeah, you know what? Here's what I've learned in business and in life is that what got you here is not going to get you there. And sometimes you need to go to the next level. If they're doing property management, they're kind of spread thin, they're all over the place. This is something that we're laser focused into. We've been considering it. We put a lot of thought and energy into it. We're the guys to take this thing forward because of all the tax deferment, because of all the marketing that we bring to the table, because of all the contacts to the network, all these different things. It's going to be better for you. And that's just part of life. Is that, the team that gets you to a certain point, you have to get another team to get you to the next point. Yeah. And that's who we are.
That makes perfect sense. I like that. And it feels good. Right. And also we invite the other broker in, right? Hey, I'm happy to work with them. If they bring a buyer, great. They can split the commission. That's fantastic. But really, Mr. Seller, this is your future for where, remember you talked about A to B, right? A to B. You want it to be at B. And if those other brokers were the ones to get you to B, I wouldn't even be here. They've already taken you there. But there's a reason you're meeting with me is because we're going to help you get to your B. So I respect that you have some loyalty and some relationship with them. And respectfully, it's a business decision for you. What I found, by the way, if it's a tough conversation, I'm also happy to call them after the listings and I'll invite them to see the package right away, to view it, to invite them to bring, so they feel like they can be a part of this with their buyers if they have those buyers. And so, in a really good broker will still bring their buyers if they want to work on the deal. And I think they will. With your permission, I'd be happy to do that for you. Sometimes it's just literally just saying, I will call them for you and have that tough conversation. And now some sellers are like, no, I want to do it myself, and that's fine. But just letting them know that it's okay. It's okay to choose somebody else. Sometimes I'm on the other end of that phone call. Sometimes I'm on this end of the phone call. But right now, let's focus about what you, Mr. Client, are trying to achieve and the best team to help you get there. And I believe, shout out, no doubt, we are the best person to get you there for A, B, and C. So are you ready to move forward? Right. So then just go back that would be a time just to close. Or is there any other reason why you wouldn't allow me to exclusively list your property at this time? Okay. So Sierra, practice the assumption close. Go ahead.
Hey, Brett. So after everything, we went over everything today. Assuming that you and I agree on price and terms, is there any reason you wouldn't want to exclusively list with me today?
Not that I could think of, Sierra. I mean, if we can get that price and we can solve this 1031 and capital gains tax thing, I don't see any other reason why I wouldn't allow you to exclusively represent me.
Awesome. I brought my listing agreement. We can go over it right now. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'm excited to get this property live for you.
What's your commission, Sierra?
Oh, yeah. So we charge 6%, and that's to cover both the buy and the sell side.
Okay. Is it like 50-50?
Yeah. So, if we end up if we represent the buyer, then we'll cover the full 6%. But if a buyer brings their own broker, then we split that 3% for them. That's how we normally set these deals up.
That seems fair. So it's 50-50?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else? How long is the listing agreement for?
Yeah. So let me just walk you through kind of here what we do. So we normally set for 6 months, as you know, or as I'm happy to explain, parks take a long time to move. So we like to have 6 months time, but we're really going to start bringing offers to you in that first 30 days of our marketing and putting it out there. And then we kind of go for highest and best. And I'm really here to get you the best price in the shortest amount of time from the most qualified buyer.
Okay, good. How did that feel, Sierra?
Fine. I was
Brent,
just like, I guess I could have laid it out a little bit more on the front end, but I just took it as the questions came.
No, I'm with you. Brent, how did that feel?
I mean, it felt okay. It's hard when you're doing the role playing because usually you cover your commission already before you're like sliding
Sure.
the thing over.
I just mean in her delivery, her tone. How does that feel?
Well, it could be. I think repetition. I feel like you maybe got to get some reps in to get the smoothness. It was a little, it was a little scripted or whatever.
Okay, Lindsay, how did that feel?
My feedback. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree with Brent too, but it just takes practice. Like I've not done much role playing like this, so it feels clunky.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wouldn't say, yeah, and I agree with him too, but I wouldn't say it wasn't clunky. You know what you're saying, but I would just say slow down a little bit and be a little more assertive. Okay. So I would say our fee is 6%. It covers both the buy side and the sell side. If I represent the buyer, we get the full commission. If someone else brings the buyer, they get 50% of the commission. I'm pausing between the statements and I'm a little more just assertive in it. Okay. So slow down a little bit. And you notice if I keep asking the questions, essentially I take control of the conversation. So if you feel like someone's asking you too many questions, you're going to want to ask a different question, such as, you can even say, our listing agreement is for 6 months. Is there any concern with the time frame of 6 months? Now I pushed it back to you. Our commission is 6%. Do you have any concern with 6%? If you feel like they're hesitating or there's going to be if there's some kind of tension there, right? They've always talked about how they're sensitive for fees. A lot of sellers will tell you the clues before you get to the negotiation table, right? And you've laid out the value proposition now. And now you say, our fee is 6%. It covers the marketing. It covers the negotiation. It covers the 50-50. It covers all the commission if the buyer brings it. If you feel like hesitating, you might say, is there a concern with the 6%? Or it feels like you might have some current concern about 6%. So let's try it again. See, are you ready?
Sure.
All right. Go ahead. Go to the assume we can agree on price and terms.
Okay. Hey, Brett. So assuming we agree on these price and terms, is there any reason that you wouldn't want to exclusively list with me today?
Well, in the past, people have done for a reduced commission. So what's your commission?
Yep. Great question. So we're a 6% commission and that covers both the buy and the sale side. So if we represent the buyer, then we're taking that full 6%. But if a buyer brings a broker, we're splitting that evenly and offering 3% to them. Do you have a concern with the 6% commission at all, Brett?
No, that I could think of, but I just want to make sure I'm getting the full value of where this. And by the way, we're also clarifying: is this in the first listing appointment or the second? Right? If it's the first one, you don't want to spend all your time overcoming it. Give them a little bit of information, and then you said, any concern with that? Or another way to put it would be, assume we can agree on price and terms, and I can show you in my proposal when I come back next week how this commission how the value is going to be here for you. Is there any other reason why you wouldn't exclusively list the property with me? Essentially, you don't want to get in a fight over the commission before you present the proposal, right? You're in the first listing appointment. I've laid out what my objection can be. You've answered it. So you're not dodging it, right? You're answering 6%. And assuming we can agree on price and terms and to your satisfaction, show you how that 6% is going to be a good investment for you for me to sell the property. Is there any other reason why you wouldn't allow me to exclusively list the property? Does that make sense? You might even say, it feels like you might have some concern with that 6% listing amount. So Sierra, it seems like you might have a concern with that 6% listing amount.
Yeah, I think you're doing a lot, but 6% of 5 million is a pretty big chunk.
6% of 5 million, pretty big chunk.
Yeah, I guess this will be my first time selling, a property this big, and with houses 6%, okay, but like you're gonna walk away with 250K here. I feel like it's a lot of money.
So it sounds like you're a little bit nervous that this $250,000 is a lot of money to be paying somebody to sell your property.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I can respect that and appreciate that. Assuming we can agree on price and terms, and I can show you how this $250,000 is going to be an investment, not an expense when I come back to present the proposal to you in 1 week. Is there, and by the way, to your satisfaction, is there any other reason why you wouldn't allow me to exclusively list the property?
No, that seems very fair.
Okay. So now when I come back, I'm going to present that. I'm going to present everything else, by the way. And then towards the end, or when you feel appropriate, you're going to put in with the fee part. You're going to answer specifically. You're going to say, this is the $250,000. This is the general, fee for most people. I think I'm going to go above and beyond. Here's how I'm going to go above and beyond. Here's how we get paid. It's 100% commission, meaning if it doesn't close, we get paid nothing. If it closes, we get paid at the close of escrow. But I want to let you know this is an investment for the long-term success and future of us working together. It's not, you're literally not just for this one deal. There's a number of things that we're going to be doing together in the future for deals and for opportunities. And I know I'm sure you can respect that and understand that. And by the way, hopefully at this point, you've already done the full proposal and it's so beautiful and it's so laid out and the offer, basically you're building the offer of everything you're going to do. But by the time you get there, they're going to be like, Sierra, we're good. Right. And if they're not good there, then you probably need to do a great job on all this other stuff. But the reason you don't try to overcome it in the first listing appointment is because you haven't laid out how you're going to solve their problem to their satisfaction. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you see why you want to segment your cold call, the purpose of the first meeting and the purpose of the second meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, if they are really going to stick you, you're going to say, I'm trying to think of the time that they actually really beat me up on fee. I mean, I've done some for a little bit less.
I mean,
Go ahead, Brent.
I get them when they say so-and-so will do it for 5. Shoot, maybe even 4. So you're way over. That's the toughest one for me when I'm, there's multiple agents involved or their previous agent did it for this. That's the hard part. I feel like if you want to overcome it, you want to role play?
Yeah, we try it. Let's try it. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
By the way, do we know who the agent is? Like, do we actually know the person? So we'll just go ahead, role play it.
Okay. Yeah, Brett, all this looks good. So what's your commission?
Our commission is 6%.
Wow, that's really high. I've never done a single deal for 6%. The previous guy did it at 5%. All my other deals are at 5%. Why are you guys at 6%?
So you say high. Help me with that. How do you mean by high? What do you mean by high?
Well, say it's a $5 million deal. This is the difference between $50,000 extra above what someone else is willing to do it for, and they have just as good a presentation on their proposal and all these other things. Why should we go with you instead of them? Why should we pay $50,000 more? It seems like you're over the market. So
it sounds like $50,000 above what the other agents will do feels like it's overcharging what you're comfortable with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm assuming we're in the first listing appointment too, right? So, and who are the other agents by them? I'm just curious. Who are they?
Oh, these guys from Marcus and Millichap. I mean, they do tons of deals. They do I think $1 billion a year or something like that.
Yeah. Marcus and Millichap is a great company. In fact, that's where I started out at. They got some really cool stuff. So, and I can respect that, right? I can respect that. And they have their processes and procedures and the way that they do transactions. And assuming, we can agree on price and terms and everything else to your satisfaction. And I can come back in our proposal and show you how this extra $50,000 to your satisfaction is going to net you a higher price and a better terms that really help you to get to really where you're trying to go. Is there any other reason why you wouldn't allow me to exclusively list the property for you?
No, I'm just kind of hung up on those commissions is all.
Okay, we'll cover that. I promise in our next meeting. And if for any reason it's not to your satisfaction, we'll go from there. That's all I can say. It's something that I'm open to. But there's a reason why, and I like to just lay that out for you and show that to you. So respectfully, with your permission, assume we can agree on price and terms, and to your satisfaction, show you why the 6% is something we're going to earn. Is there any other reason why you wouldn't allow me to exclusively list the property for you?
Yeah, it's just, I got to be able to see the value of it. If I see the value, I'll pay for it. But if I don't see the value, then I'm not going to pay for it.
Yeah. Assuming you can see the value, again, to your satisfaction, and we can agree on price and terms. Is there any other reason you can think of that you wouldn't allow me to exclusively list the property?
No, I think we should be good.
Excellent. Great. Well, looking forward to that, Brent. Lindsay, you have a question? Go ahead.
I do. I don't know if I'm supposed to raise my hand or not.
It's fine.
I feel like I'm in school.
You are in school. You're getting coached.
That's true. So if it comes down to it, I mean, would you just accept a little bit lower commission and totally lose the listing? Or, I mean, I've had some where it's like, oh yeah, this other person's going to do it for 4. And it's just someone that is cheap and they keep trying to get it down lower. And I think at that point, it's just let them work with someone else. You probably don't want a client like that. But if it's a small difference, like 5% versus 6%.
Okay. So now we're on the second meeting now. Okay. Now I'm going to try to actually overcome the objection. Okay. So I just sat down with Lindsay. I just presented my whole proposal and she's still like, someone will do it for 4. By the way, they are testing you. Okay. Either subconsciously or consciously, they're testing your negotiation skills. So Lindsay, let me ask you this. Look, I respect that you want to make sure that any agent representing you is going to do a job that it does not take anything for granted, does not keep $1 away from you that for the property. That's going to do everything they can to get you the highest price and the best terms. I'm really curious about the person who says they'll do it for 4%, which is a substantial savings, by the way. It's $50,000 on whatever that number is. I get that. But let me ask you, when you asked them to do it for 4, what did they say?
They said they would do it.
Did they push back at all, Lindsay?
They did not.
Did they say anything about why they are happy to do it for 4 or any kind of hold back at all? Was it just no problem, 4%?
Not really. I think they probably just want the listing because there's not a lot of homes on the market right now.
So it sounds like they just want the listing because there's not a lot of homes on the market right now. And perhaps they're just reducing their commission to get the listing. Is that way off mark, Lindsay?
That sounds about right.
So I believe that everybody needs someone in their corner who's going to fight for every single dollar. And as they do that, you're able to get better terms and better pricing. And this is why consistently I've been able to sell at the highest price in just about every single marketplace. And here are my last 5 deals. I just did one in Placerville for a 4.3 cap and the highest price per unit in a marketplace that was falling apart. That took, all these challenges that we went through with the sellers. And you can call them directly and talk to them about why nobody thought it would sell for this price. I just did another $7.7 million deal in Sacramento where most of the owners locally thought it was between $6 and $6.5 million. We sold it for a 3.8 cap and also in a marketplace that was shifting. This is during the whole, craziness of interest rates jumping really high. And we ended up selling it for a 3.8 cap, right? Which is remarkable. So about $1.7 million above where a lot of the people were at, a lot of the local people were at, perhaps where a lot of the local brokers were at. So my thought to you would be this: pay me a higher commission as I perform. If you want to make it performance-based, I'm happy to do that. I'm not opposed to that. But you want someone who's going to negotiate on your behalf. And again, not just buy listings by either promising a very high price and or reducing their commission. Is that way off the mark, Lindsay? I know it's probably going to sound really just self-serving or really just, like I'm trying to sell you on something, but am I off there when I would say this is going to be worth every single penny for you?
That makes sense. What do you mean by performance-based pay?
Yep.
Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. So here's our list price, 7.7 million, right? Or in this scenario, this last one was 6.5 million. We ended up selling for $7.7 million. Okay. And so that difference there, I'm happy to do a percentage increase on that one. So that percentage, it could be, instead of a traditional 6%, right? It would be, that difference would be, 6.5%. Now, if we don't sell for that list price, we'll go 5.5%. So if I don't perform when we go lower than or at list price, 5.5. But if we do above and beyond, then you're going to, I'm going to get a performance bonus at 6.5. So it could go your way or my way. Does that seem unreasonable to you, Lindsay?
That seems reasonable. I like that idea.
Excellent. I'll modify the listing agreement here with an addendum. Here, I'll just cross this out. You're literally going to write it, cross it out. Boom, 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 boom. Great. Sign it. If you're ready to sign, here you go. Be very grateful for that. And by the way, thank you so much. That's so generous of you, Lindsay. I will not let you down. I'm going to do everything I can do to sell your price for the highest price and the best terms to help you get from A to B. Right now, you're going to end it on a very positive note. Right, very, very encouraging and bringing them in. Does that make sense? Brent, how did that feel?
It felt okay. I was going to say, it seems like, I don't know if this is wrong. Seems like they're a little desperate. If they didn't push back at all, 4%, it seems like that other agent is just trying to get this sale and they'll wholesale their whole business.
It's a great label of desperate. That's the emotion, right? It seems like, or it feels like they're a little bit desperate. Yeah. Is that unreasonable to say? What did you think, Mr. Seller?
Yeah, because even if you label it wrong, they'll be like, no, this, or they'll say, yeah, but it definitely feels that way. Did they push back at all? And then, my whole thing would be like, man, if they just caved in so fast, how are they going to negotiate with your property? If they can't negotiate their own commissions, what do you think they're just going to cave down, take it less than asking? They're probably just a ticket taker, and that's not what I am.
Exactly. And if you feel like the seller is so price conscious, or there's a thing called elves and halves. Elves are easygoing, loving, and fun. Okay. It's all the people we like to hang out. It's the people we try to be easygoing, loving, and fun. Then there's halves. What do halves stand for, Brent?
Harassing, annoying, lame, and frustrating.
Close. Not harassing, but it could be hard, annoying, lame, and frustrating, right? Hard, annoying, lame, and frustrating. So you want to choose elves, easygoing, loving, and fun. You don't want to choose halves, hard, annoying, lame, and frustrating. And you typically know within the first 15 minutes of hanging out with the client or somebody, right?
Yeah.
And when you know that, you just want to negotiate your way out, or just don't. It's not worth your time and your energy and your stress for hard, annoying, lame, and frustrating people. Okay. They're never going to give you referrals. They're always going to complain about price. It's never going to be good enough. And they're going to take up 80% of your time, energy, and your stress. Okay. So you want to choose easygoing, loving, and fun. Vince, you've had your hand raised for a while. So now I'm going to let you come in and ask your questions. Thank you for your patience, sir. Vince, go ahead.
Yeah. A lot of good information. Basically, do we have to qualify the seller? Because one time I had a seller.
You want to turn your camera, Vince? You're going sideways here and it's messing with my mind.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Do we have to qualify the seller? Because one time I had this real bad 8-unit multifamily. I wasn't the broker. I was just a sales agent. And I brought the buyer, but the buyer asked for P&L, all these financial documents, and the landlord didn't have them. He was in India. He said, I don't have them as is. So the buyer backed out. So I kind of realized I can only do so much.
So your question is, how do you qualify the seller to make sure he's legitimately going to sell?
Or what if the buyer's asking for financial documents that the seller doesn't have? That's what happened to me on a really bad 8-unit property.
Okay. So before you do any proposal or at the first listing appointment, actually on the phone call, hey, I want to meet with you on Thursday at 2:00. Great. Hey, if you could be a copy of your current rent roll and your income and expenses, that'd be excellent. If you could gather those together, and when we come to meet with you, I could grab those documents. Could you do that for me? Excellent. Okay. I'll see you on Thursday. Or you show up on Thursday, you forgot to ask the question, hey, in order to do this proposal, I'm going to need a number of things. I'm going to need your current rent roll. I need your income and expenses for the last 2 years and year to date, and a copy of your current note. Again, you're that doctor and you're getting that checklist and you want to do an MRI. You cannot properly do a proposal for somebody without these information. Oh, I'll get around to it, Vince. I got it somewhere. I just want to know the price. Hey, I appreciate that. I respect that. But Mr. Seller, if I'm going to bring a buyer, they're going to want to get a loan. If they're going to get a loan, they're going to have a buyer and underwrite it properly. They're going to need to have the actual current rent roll and income and expenses. So how soon can you get me that information? Right now, if they're not sending you the information, they're not responding to emails, responding to texts, responding to phone calls. Guess what zone you're in, Sierra? What zone are we in?
Back in that friend zone.
Back in that friend zone, right? Lindsay, do you remember back in the day when that guy was trying to date you and you didn't really want to date him? Did you return his calls or his texts or, any of those things? Nope. Brent, when those ladies were chasing you before you were married, they were trying to, they're knocking at your door at the college dorm. Brent, are you sleeping? Are you telling your dorm member you're sleeping? He's not even here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All the time. Yeah. I had to beat him off with a stick, but yeah.
Exactly. Right. So Vince, I'm not saying that happened to you, but it could have, right? If they're not actually committing their time, their energy, and their money to the effort of you providing a solution with a proposal as simply as sending an email with their current rent roll, or if they're so disorganized, they don't have this thing, then guess what? You're practicing what's called possibility brokerage and not probability brokerage. And we don't practice possibility. That's a waste of your time and your energy. And it's going to deplete you of all your momentum. It's the same reason why you don't have the phone call we don't have the meeting on the phone. It's the same reason we don't have the proposal on the first listing appointment. It's the same reason we don't have we don't present the proposal to the second listing appointment, right? These are all the processes and procedures you want to be following. And if you start mixing these things up, you get in this friend zone and you get in this weird commitment zone. And essentially you're overcommitting and you're chasing. And they're like, he's a good friend. He's a nice guy. I might call him in a pinch if I have something that I have to do. But in the meantime, I'm going to go marry the person over here who properly did the things in the right order. They might not know that, consciously, it could be subconsciously, right? But you are the professional. You are the expert. Your time and energy is important. That makes sense, Vince?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Brent, Sierra, or Lindsay, any last questions before we let everybody go? If not, would you just please say where they can find you? Brent, go first.
Okay. Brent Silberbauer, Brent at BrentSalesChico.com, or you use BrentSalesChico.com, my website.
Sierra.
Yep. So Sierra Saliandia, you can find me at Park Place Property Advisors with eXp Commercial, and that's parkplacepropertyadvisors.com.
Lindsay, go.
Lindsay Porter out of Chico. You can find me at Lindsay Porter Real Estate on Instagram.
Vince, go.
Yeah, Vince the Realtor 1 on Instagram. You can find me there, and on Facebook, Vincent Padron.
Excellent. If people want to find me, you can go to expmastery.com, capitalgainstaxsolutions.com, expcresecrets.com. You can search the YouTube channel. I am a Sacramento multifamily broker. I'm also the head of Capital Gains Tax Solutions, and we help people with the Deferred Sales Trust, exit not feeling trapped by capital gains tax. And we want to help you, the realtor, the commercial real estate broker, level up your game. If you're interested in joining our eXp Mastery team, hey, check us out. Connect with us on all the social media platforms. Get a one-on-one Zoom with me and some of the team members here. And we so appreciate the opportunity to potentially work with you. If you're a seller looking to sell, hey, we want to bring our services to you and show you how we collaborate, how we work together to get you the highest price and the best terms. Also, look for the new book coming out. It's called Building a Tax for Exit Strategy. We have Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank in the book. Pretty cool stuff. Thanks so much for listening, watching. Please share this with someone that could help, and we'll be